That's pretty chaotic there. Over the weekend, passengers on an American Airlines flight in Denver had to evacuate because of a small fire. And there are several videos of people using the emergency exit slides to escape the plane.
And now those videos are raising some questions about safety. So On Your Side, Susan Campbell is joining us to explain all of this. Susan.
Yeah, so if you've ever flown, you know that if there is an emergency and you have to evacuate, you are supposed to leave everything behind. That's not exactly what we saw, at least for some passengers. So I want you to take a look at this video again. You can see the flames and smoke building under that plane after an aborted takeoff. Passengers were scrambling to the emergency exit slides. You can see a lot of them holding backpacks, purses, even rolling suitcases. The video shows one person with a kid in one arm, suitcase in the other, trip and fall. Immediately, that child bursts into tears. Safety experts say this is exactly why you're supposed to leave everything behind. Those bags can slow down the whole evacuation process and even puncture the slides.
Incidents like this don't happen often, but when they do, it's important that the passengers evacuate properly, and leave their luggage behind.
The FAA puts that in big, bold letters on its website. If you have to evacuate an airplane, leave your possessions behind. The agency says it's also important to stay low as you are getting to the nearest exit. Then jump feet first onto the evacuation slide. Place your arms across your chest, elbows in, legs and feet together. If you're wearing high heels, the FAA says take them off. According to FAA standards, planes should be able to be fully evacuated in 90 seconds with half of the exits blocked. But there are a lot of concerns that those standards aren't realistic. So last year, lawmakers passed the EVAC Act, which requires the FAA to study the issue. At a congressional hearing last month, we learned there hasn't been much progress.
We are still working with outdated data in certifying evacuation standards for the aircraft. Both the human factors and also the size of the seats and how close they are together, that is not taken into consideration for those evacuation standards today, and that needs desperately to be updated.
I asked the FAA if passengers could face any penalties for taking bags with them during an evacuation. I also asked what progress has been made in implementing the EVAC Act. The agency has not responded to those questions. They just sent a statement saying the incident is under investigation. But it is always worth reminding people, because I think in an emergency, you just go into fight or flight mode, right? So the gut is, I want to take my stuff because that's my stuff. And it's always worth the conversation, the reminders. Leave everything behind. You don't want to slow somebody else down, jeopardize somebody else's safety. Even if you're super close to the emergency exit, maybe somebody else isn't.
Right.
Sure.
And we all have seen the congestion when people are getting off the plane trying to grab their luggage from the overhead compartment. So adding
it just
to this
slows everything down. And then part of those evacuation standards that we're concerned about is that the standard was set for healthy people under a certain age with no disabilities. That is not representative of who is flying. We've got kids, we have people with disabilities and certain limitations. So that's why there's this conversation about standards changing.
And I think everybody's looking at this saying, understandably so. You know, it needs to change with the times, right? So we'll see when they respond to you. All right. Thank you, Susan.